Hello guys, Schwinn Gaming here, and today we're going to be talking about methods. This is the third video in my series on learning how to program in Java and the basics on the Java language. So let's get started. Right here is the code that we've had since the last episode, and the first thing I'm going to do is just press enter twice there to create new lines, and then we're going to go right into it and create our own method. Just a quick note before I get started, what a method is. A method is basically something in Java that you create so that it can be run more than once and you don't have to type the same code out every single time. But then there's also some other uses for them, like outputs and inputs, things like that. Let's get started. First, we're just going to make a quick method, void print. Alright, and basically public static, I already explained in the last episode. For now, you're just going to leave that part on all of your methods. And then the void, I think I might have also explained this in the last episode. It is, if you highlight it with Eclipse, it'll say return type of print. And that's saying that the return type, it's not going to return anything. It's void, it's not giving the console anything back. So now we're just going to, in here, we're just going to type system.out.println string hello world. And then in here, instead of typing that every single time, instead of typing this up here, we can just type print. And that'll see, Java will see when it runs this program. It'll see this, and it'll say, hey, someone's already defined that. And it'll go to here and run this code, and then you can do stuff after that too. So if we just go up here and run this, it'll say hello world. So what happened is it went to here, then it saw this, and so it recognized that this is connected to this, and this is the print method. It says program.print method. Program is just the class. So it recognizes that print is right here. It goes to here because that's where we defined print, and it does any code inside of this. You could also do multiple things. You could do .println goodbye, and then close this off, and then run it, and it does everything inside of these brackets between those two. So it prints both of those lines. You could also have multiple methods at the same time. Like you could have one say print hello and public static void print goodbye. And we just do out.println alright, now we can, oh wait, yeah, I forgot to change this to print hello and print goodbye. Okay, now if we run this, it'll go to here, see that this is right there, run this code. Go to here, see that this is there, run this code. So now we get hello world, goodbye. But there's a quicker way we could do this. Instead of having two separate methods, we could remove one of them, get rid of this, and then just go to back to print like before, and delete all this, and just do public static void print, and then inside these parentheses up there, right here, inside there we can just type string s, and now that is an input to this function. So basically what you can do, see it's giving me an error because that's saying that method doesn't exist. You need to add something in there, so we can just say print hello, whoops, caps lock, hello world. And then now in here we can just say system.out.println s. So now whatever we give this, when we type print, it'll just print that using this. It'll set that to the variable s, and that's a local variable, as we discussed in the last episode. So you can't use that back. You can't use s in here. If you say if you said print s out here, it would be confused because s is a local variable to this method. But you can system.out.println s, and now whatever the value of s is, it'll print it out to the console. So now if we run this, it'll say hello world, and then we can do this, and then print goodbye. Then we can run it, and it'll do the same thing as the last one, but we can put whatever we want in there, and we don't need to create a new method for each different thing. That can be helpful for things like math, or things like that. Now, say we wanted to, for example, say we wanted to have a method in this, say we're making a calculator, and we wanted to have this calculator. Let me just clear out all this first. Can't type while I'm talking. So say we wanted to have a calculator calculate the circumference of a circle. Alright? So we know that the circumference of a circle is pi r squared, or at least you should know that if you've taken math before. But yeah, so say we want to figure out what pi r squared is, and we can give it any value. So let's make a new method. No, not main. Let's just say circle calc. And then as an input, we'll give it, so you could input anything. You could say, let's give it a double. If you remember from the last episode, that's going to allow us to give it decimal input. Double, we'll call it double R for radius. And then we'll say, change this void to double, because that way we can return a decimal. And it's giving us an error saying this method must return a result of type double. And that's because we don't have a return statement. So we can click add return statement, and it'll say return. And by default it's just putting R, but we need to tell it what to return. So let's say, well, pi r squared. So we'll return R, well, no, let's do 3.14 for pi times R times R. And that would be 3.14 times radius squared, because R times R is radius squared. You should know that if you're looking into programming. But that's just a simple thing. And now we need to use that. So we'll just say system.out print ln. But this time we're not going to use quotes, because remember, if you're printing out like a variable, you don't need to use quotes. But or if you're printing anything but like a raw string, you don't need to use quotes. So now we're going to say print ln circle calc, and then put parentheses again, and then inside these parentheses of circle calc, we'll just say 10, right? And then, why is it throwing an error? Oh, 10, because Java is a little bit dumb in this case. I forgot, but because it thinks it's looking for a double radius, and we're giving it 10, which it thinks is an integer, even though it's an integer and a double. So just put 10.0, or that should fix it. What? Let's see, changed it. Undefined for the type program. Oh, there we go. Okay, it just went away. Sometimes you have to press save to get the error messages to go away. But yeah, if you put 10.0 or just 10D, D stands for double, then it'll recognize that you're inputting a double and not an integer. So you can either put 10.0 or D, D standing for double, or 10.0 because if it has a decimal, then it's a double. But anyways, now that we've done that, it's going to find the circumference of a circle that has a radius 10, but just to make sure that we know what's going on, let's just see what the right answer would be. Let's see, 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 3.14 is 314. So when we run this, it should output 314. Let's try it. Yep, 314, and then it did include the 0.0 because it thinks it's a double, but that should be fine. That shouldn't matter at all. And now we have a program that can do math like that. And so yeah, that's all I'm going to have in this video. In the next video, we're actually going to look into, first of all, this 3.14. We're going to change that. Java has a built-in thing that can change it to as many as you want. And then we're also going to look at some of what's called the Java API and the Java library. You can use that to do some pretty cool stuff. And make sure to share this video with your friends, like and subscribe if you liked this video, and comment if you have any questions. See you next time.